Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your hosts Edward McQueen and April Garner.
Good evening. Good evening, and we are live. Good evening. I'm your host, Ed McQueen, for WCM Live today, and co-host, of course, Miss April D. Garner. So welcome to our program. And all programs are important, but this is one that you can see at the bottom of our screen that says tonight your vote is your voice. This is one that we're hoping that could be caught on by a lot of people. And after you view this tonight, please try and carry the conversation on to the rest of your community and every other place. Let's just keep in mind that our vote, without any question, is all we got. Okay, really. Okay, so we'll kick things off and look. And thank you again for being with us, and we certainly appreciate your viewing us tonight. So we're going to start with we're going to start with a contact with it. We've had on our show before, and I'm getting a little mixed up here because as a prelude to this, I'd like to, or a caveat, I'd like to say that our guest tonight is of a particular party, and her information or her topic that she was trying to get over is to encourage people to vote, not necessarily advocating her party. So having said that, we want to introduce you. So some of you don't. You've seen her before, Miss Alester Pryor. She is our special guest tonight, and she is the chairperson of the Horry County Democratic Party. Now, our attempt to bring on someone from the other party was not very successful at it, and indeed we tried very much. So, and nobody's going to propagate any accolades of their party. That wasn't the intent tonight. The intent was to make sure that the voting turnout is heavily, and everybody participates in our democratic process. Okay, Republican or Democratic. So, without any ado, let's bring on our guest, Ms. Alester Pryor. Good evening, Ms. Pryor.
Good evening to both April and Ed. Thank you very much for having me on. And it is about your voice is your vote. And it's very important, no matter what political party you're in, it's important that you use your constitutional right to vote. That makes you part of your community, makes you part of your country. First, we want you to be engaged in the process, then educated about the process. Educated means know your candidates. Spend time learning who your candidates are. Look at their backgrounds. Have they been voting for you or voting against you? And then energize them. Make sure that they want to vote. Make sure you will have them wanting to go to the polls. Also, I would suggest that once you energize them, they will become empowered. And being empowered, you will do more for your community. Because of being in this country, you have to become involved in the political process. Voting is something that makes your communities better. It makes you better. It's a possibility that they say an old adage that says, if you're not at the table, you can't eat. And voting puts you at the table where you will be able to have an opportunity. If they are not, your candidates are not working for you, you have the voice to vote them out. And that's important. Learn what's of value to your community. The most important thing here in South Carolina, I would suggest everyone that can do your early vote. Go to do your early voting. You don't have to wait. Since this is more municipal elections, you don't have to wait to go to the polls on, I think it's November 7th. You don't have to wait. You can go now at the voter registration office in 1301 4th Avenue. You can go there and do an early vote. You have candidates that are running for mayor that you trust. You have candidates that you don't trust. Please do not vote for those candidates that you don't feel are not working for you. And I ask everyone, Republican, Labor Party, anybody, please use your voice. Vote in every election you can. Don't let anyone turn you away from the polls. It's important. In 1964, they had Freedom Summer, where they were going down to register at this point in time African Americans to vote because they were being denied the vote, harassed to vote. And it's important that people lost their lives for us to have the opportunity to vote, especially African Americans. And it's very, very important. Fannie Lou Hamer got beat to lost her life trying to get the right to vote. So please, Goodwin, Cheney, and Moose Warner lost their lives registering people to vote. So please, I ask all of you that are voting, don't just register. They say, oh, we're going to get the vote out. We're registering voters. But it's important that you get those voters to the polls.
So,
and I'm asking,
so Ms. Pryor,
yes.
Let me interrupt a second. So, you're pressing people to go to the polls. Now, you may come to this point and you may not, but I'm going to ask it again before I forget. And that is, what kind of assistance is being provided to make sure that people get to the polls, especially in areas where transportation is an issue or anything else is an issue in order to get to the polls. Okay.
I'm not sure what's available. We're asking the faith community with their vans to be active in getting people to the polls. And anyone else that we do not have at this point in time the money to, at the HCDP does not have the money to provide a van, but we're asking to working with the faith communities to try to help us with their church buses to get people to the polls to vote.
Okay, so what else lies ahead? What are the challenges for that? Now, I may have said it earlier in a different way, but I know voting has become a controversy, so to speak, and so restrictions have been renewed or placed since the last time we had a major election. Can you elaborate on that, or can you?
You know, they did a lot of stuff, backtracking on the Voter Rights Act of 1965.
Right.
They done that by taking away some of the cautions that were set forth in that VRA that to protect voter rights, and that has been stricken back by the Supreme Court of the United States. So that's why it's so important that we engage our voters, educate our voters, and make sure we can get them to the polls. And it takes a community to become involved in that. It's not just one party, the Republican Party, the Democratic Party. It takes a community to get sure that we make sure that we get our voters out, especially in areas that are difficult. In the rural areas, again, we need the faith community to help us do that.
So, yeah, I think you may have said it, and I may not have gotten a hold of it, but you said that now there's no protection that could used to be during the voting process, right? So we're talking about no enforcement or protection for intimidation.
Yes. So, let me just get something for you regarding the I just had. I'm sorry, I just lost it. What I had regarding the VRA,
right,
and how the Supreme Court struck down many of the powers of the VRA is protecting the African American vote.
Right,
and that's one of the things. In I think in 2013, they did that, the Supreme Court, and that's one of the things that's a hindrance that we need as voters to know exactly how we cannot be intimidated going to the polls. We just have to make sure that we have our voter IDs, everything that they tell you on the South Carolina website for scvotes.com. Make sure that you go there. Make sure your address is valid. Your name has not changed. You have not moved, because they did a lot of not gerrymandering, but making sure that certain areas were cut off, doing this re-strategizing on the precincts here in Horry County. Make sure you're at the right precinct. Make sure you call scvotes.gov, and they will make sure. SouthCarolinaVotes.gov, and you can make sure that you can find out your information if you're still registered, if your address is not changed. All these things are important. And that's why it's important that we educate our voters so they know where to go on certain sites.
Okay, so you just fielded a website address, SouthCarolinaVote.gov. What are there any phone numbers available? I'm asking this because there's a significant number of people who don't frequent computers as often as a lot more. So now they rely on the telephone, or especially on the telephone, to just pick up the phone and call somebody and find out the information that you just propagated over to us.
You can call our voter registration and election office here on Conway at 1301 4th Avenue. They can give you the information also. I don't have the telephone number, and I'm sorry, but they can give you the information also.
Okay. So, okay, good. So, I keep getting back to this voter protection thing. I haven't heard enough of that in other to say that as a viewer of this program, what are my options in terms of trying to circumvent the expected intimidation? Because last time, according to some reports, especially in a major presidential election, there was some intimidating going on, but you didn't hear it on the regular news.
No, we had some polls, precincts that were not viable, and they tried to shut it down. We had to call an attorney to come and open the polls, because if it's a general election, not so much a municipal election, but a general election, we have attorneys on staff that can correct any intimidation. Like one of the, I can't remember exactly what precinct it was. They said that they didn't have enough, the machines had broken down, but they weren't issuing paper ballots. And they should have been able to issued paper ballots. We had to call an attorney to come down and get it straightened out. So those are the kind of things, if you feel that you're being intimidated against, if you go there and they tell you they don't have a ballot for you, you can fill out a provisional ballot right there at the polls. You can fill out a provisional ballot and have that in. That goes to the county or Horry County voter registration and election office. So they cannot turn you away unless possibly, that's why I said it's so important to either go to SC Votes or call the voter registration to make sure you're at the correct precinct.
So, I didn't bring it up about early voting, but has that been terminated yet? Or have we? No,
it's November 4th.
What's what?
November 4th.
Oh, okay. For early
voting. Okay. It's going to be terminated.
Okay. November 4th.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want to shift the conversation just a little bit. We kind of came out the gate really strong about early voting and getting engaged and getting educated about the process, but we haven't really talked about what the process is. And what we really want viewers to understand from this show, since it is poised to be a nonpartisan show that's not really leaning one way or the other, but more about educating our viewers. We want them to understand why it's important to pay as much attention to local municipal elections as it is to pay attention to national elections. A lot of time, people, they don't vote in elections that involve like your local races, and even some state races. They don't understand why it's important to show up, and the focus is always on the large presidential race. So, Ms. Alester, if you could for just a second, let's shift the conversation to what's at stake when residents or constituents choose not to participate in the local elections. What do our local elections mean for our communities and the people that we're voting into office in our local elections? So can you, talk about that just a little bit, just some insight from your experience working in the political arena, what you've seen in terms of government and how, the lack of vote has caused issues in local communities. Let's start there.
Issues in local communities that I find when people do not vote, they hurt themselves more than they realize, because you have to have somebody in your community that's going to work for you and not against you. And that's why it's so important educating your voters. And I think a lot of our candidates fail to go and introduce themselves to the community. A lot of them have name, reference. If you say, Barbara Bellamy, has she gone out into the community to talk with the people? Ken Richardson, I think that's in Conway. Mike Chestnut in Myrtle Beach. Myra in Myrtle Beach. I live in the county, so I have no voting power. So all I can do is go in my community and say, are you checking out how they voted in previous elections? And that's all of us as voters should be able to do. And that protects us and it protects our votes, as long as we know who we're voting for and making sure that we're educated about those candidates. And that to me is more important than anything. You just want to do something that can empower your lives and empower your community. And that's why I think the votes in municipal elections are so vital, that everybody should be out on the ground going to vote. And if somebody doesn't have to tell you, you can get your own group together and say, hey, have you voted yet? Let's go to the polls. We just strolled to the polls last Wednesday. The Divine Nine strolled to the polls so they could get people out and vote. And that's what's so important. You have to be involved in the political process. That's why your voice is your vote. And there's no way to say you're not important enough to vote for somebody that's going to be vital to you and your community.
Mm-hmm. I think one thing you mentioned that's real important for people to understand as well is that, all elections do not impact all constituents. Just like you said, you live in the county, so you can't participate in the city race. And I think that some people are either misinformed or just uneducated about that particular part of the process. And, they don't, or they haven't done the research, or they haven't asked the questions. They just assume I live in Conway, I have a Conway address, or, and there are, different zip codes that are tied to Conway addresses. And then when they show up at the polls and they're unable to vote because there's no evidence that they live in the city, that, they're county residents, it does create a lot of confusion. So what's one way that people can be sure that they are voting in the right election, or that they have the right to vote in a particular election?
Again, I would suggest that they call the county voter registration and election office, scvotes.gov. They will be able to tell you what precinct you're in if you're in the county. If you're in a precinct, Carolina Forest, Forest Brook, Coastal Lane 1 and 2, any of those things, they will be able to identify where you vote. And that's why I keep bringing up scgov.vote or the registration and election office in Conway. And they will answer any questions. That's one thing. They have a very good group with Sandy Martin and all those. They have a very good group that will spend time with you to tell you the correct information.
Okay. As far as the lines are concerned, I know you, well, I don't know if it's obvious because we really didn't say in the beginning, but you are a member of the Horry County Democratic Party. And so, you have very critical work that happens, for that particular party. And as you are, or as you all work to make sure that people are educated, I think that sometimes as a part of that particular point of reference, the county lines, the city lines aren't always really clear. So can you just kind of describe, for example, where the city line stops and the county line begins in a particular area, just to give people like a point of reference, so that so that they'll understand. Oh, yeah, wow, that doesn't apply to me.
Okay, the area of Forest Brook, that area, and some of Carolina Forest are not in the city. They're a county resident. So they do not have a vote in either Conway, nor do they have a vote in Myrtle Beach.
Wow. So who do they vote for mayor?
Yeah, right.
We don't have a mayor. We're in the county.
Oh, okay. See, that's something new that's like
That's right.
Education that nobody really understands or knows.
Yeah. But that's one of the things. I live in Forest Brook. I do not have a vote for either the Conway mayor or the Myrtle Beach mayor.
That's fascinating.
So do you feel a little disenfranchised because of that, or and is there anything being done about it? Because people want to vote.
I don't know. I can't predict how they're doing redistricting, but I can know that I do not have a vote. And I was surprised when I first came here because I had a Myrtle Beach address. So I went to them. I said, "Well, where do where do I vote?" They said, "You don't vote. You just have a Myrtle Beach address, but you live in the county. So I don't have a vote. Any municipalities, Conway or Myrtle Beach, I do not have a vote."
What about Bucksport?
Huh?
Someone just asked, what about Bucksport?
I'm not sure about Bucksport.
I think they're county.
Huh?
It seems like they're county.
That might be county, because that's a Bucksport. I don't think Bucksport could.
It's outside the city limits of Conway.
Yeah, I think a part of that is Conway, the way they have it redistricting. So I don't know. Again, I would suggest you call the voter registration and election office. They have everything. And also we have at our party, not being partnership, but we have a VPC voter protection committee person that knows everything. And you can call our number, which I don't have here. But we have a voter protection group that really is on top of it. And that's how I know something, because they teach me. And we got to remember that, again, voters have to make an effort to know what's happening. It's not for Ed or you or really me to tell them, well, we know everything and we do this. Get, educated yourself, because I'm telling you, it's so important that you have the ability to vote. Please take time and go to the polls, register. You can't register for this election. That was over in October. But we have a general election. 2024 is very important because we're first in the nation for presidential primary, preference primary. We're first in the nation. Everybody should be able to vote, register, vote, register, vote, register, and vote. And that's a big thing, because there's going to be candidates coming in from all over. And our first in the nation vote for the Democrats is February the 3rd. That's when Democrats can go out and vote for your president. And I think that if you start voting, and I'm trying to get young people excited about voting, because that's their future. And if you're not sitting at the table, you become the menu. So I would suggest everybody, please, if you have young children, take them to the polls with you. Let them experience with you the process of voting.
When is so we have obviously in 2024 a presidential election, certain congressional seats and all that. When is our next state gubernatorial race?
It's a couple of. It's not next year.
Okay, so it's not in 2024.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, McMaster's is gonna be in there for a moment.
Okay. And I think people are, don't understand that there's kind of a staggering of elections, and based on, when candidates are elected and the time that the terms that they have to serve. And so, we're not going to the polls to vote for everybody all at once.
Yeah.
State local, state, or nationally. So, okay, all right, yeah. So we were talking about the young people and the attempts to get them energized to vote. I think it's kind of rooted in getting them energized to even talk politics or be a part of the political process, because you have to have that kind of energy before they can actually get to the polls and vote on someone. And the last thing we would want is for them to go to the polls and vote and they're uninformed about who they're voting for, right? So what are some of the things, as far as challenges and barriers you've recognized exist when it comes down to getting young people to even, get involved in the political process? Is it that, they don't have any confidence in candidates? They don't understand the process. It seems over their heads. Or, is it something that they just have not been introduced to formally, and so they don't know where to even begin? What do you think it is? What do you think the underlying process?
April, I wish I knew. I don't understand, because when I was involved younger, even my daughter, when she was doing, she was making phone calls at 12 years old for Charlie Rangel. There was a desire to always be part of the political process, because that makes you part of America. Mm-hmm. People don't realize how important the political process is for your well-being, for your empowerment. People don't take the census. And that information is hidden for 75 years.
Yep.
Before it's revealed that you can go in there and find out what's happening. They're not asking you to give you all the information. They just want to know who lives in your household. And that's all. It's a census. And people fail to take part of the census. That takes money out of our community. And there's a whole lot of things that I think young people, they're so busy. And I understand that. When I was young, all I could thought about was the ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. You want to make money. You go to college, you want to make money. And all that, but don't they realize that they become in the process, political process, which dictates your salaries, whether you're a union, whether you're a right-to-work state. Those are the candidates that you can have to look up for. Because if you're a right-to-work state, that's what it means. You have a right to work, and they have a right to fire you without any definition. So you get candidates that say, well, we don't believe in the right to work. We believe in a living wage. We will believe in rights for everyone. That's what it should energize you to say, well, I want to become part of the process that makes a living wage possible, unions or anything. A woman's right to choose. Those are the things that should, when I was younger, I wanted to make sure, because I had to sit at the back of the bus one time. I went to Savannah. I couldn't go on the beach except on a certain day. And maybe we've made everything so easy for them that they don't realize we've worked for that. People got hit in their heads. People got sit on everything just for them to have the right to go in a little box and put a ballot in. And that's history that we need to teach our children.
All right. And I think that, what we've learned along the way, aside from the fact that it's not really being taught in schools and, so the kids and the children, youth are not being exposed to those lessons in school. We've learned that it definitely is going to take a community effort within the culture to make sure that our young people are educated or re-educated about the process. Because, growing up, I'll say for me, example, I always knew that there was, an election. My parents voted. And I even accompanied them, sometimes to the polls. But if those types of things are not instilled in a young person, they have no sense of the essence of it, the urgency behind it, the seriousness of the matter. And so, a lot of that has escaped us because generations have gone away that, used to be really, really entrenched in all of that. And now there's just a lack of that education coming from, households. That's a part of the reality that nobody really, there's some households where they don't even talk about politics. It's not on the radar, right? The other part of it is I think about things that I used to be involved in and that I would hear about in my, early 20s, in college years, coming out of college and things like that. Professionally even, there used to be a program called Kids Voting. And that program was a viable program in our community because it taught students about the democratic process. They actually had ballots and little ballot boxes at the polling places, the polling precincts, so that children could come in, youth of all, school age, K-12, could come in and actually cast a vote for a particular candidate. And, later on, that information was shared publicly, and there were conversations around the democratic process and how, children were involved in that. And I mean, that was pretty much, established with some organized leaders who felt that it was very necessary to have that kind of, fundamental teaching in our communities. Well, even that has dissolved and gone away. And so if we don't take the time to come up with, creative ways to get kids more involved, there's no reason why we shouldn't have these types of things in our schools, especially at your middle and high school levels, where they're able to make more informed decisions and to do some research and, to make it a part of a project or an assignment or whatever. But I think that politics have also become even more divisive than they've ever been before. As far as as in my opinion, I think politics has a different kind of flavor to it. It has a different kind of, meaning and symbolism behind it. Even the symbols of our country have changed. Some people say it's hard for them to, look at the American flag and to hear the word patriot and, other things like that, because those meanings have been stretched and misconstrued so much as far as the political processes over the past few years, that people have just really kind of lost the sense of democracy when it comes to certain things. Not everybody, because those symbols still mean something to a lot of other people, but to a constituency of people who don't traditionally vote and who only see the negative, and that the symbols have become negative, it further pushes them away from wanting to be a part of the democratic process. And unfortunately, I think it impacts our communities disproportionately than it does other communities. So, I think that, and I know that you work with some young people as a part of, the initiatives through the Democratic Party. We won't get into naming names because we'll miss somebody, I'm sure. But, maybe it's about taking a more creative twist to go more grassroots to try to figure out, okay, how do we create something that's appealing and, relevant, but also something that they can relate to on a smaller scale instead of, those, over the top kind of initiatives that sometimes further confuses them, or they don't have enough background to really get into it, or there's so many distractions out there with, social media and everything. It's hard for them to filter through all of the information. I think it starts on a smaller grassroots level, and then, you have to build up. But that kind of lends into the conversation of who does it, like who should start that? Do we start in our churches? Do we start with our, you mentioned the Divine Nine, our Divine Nine organizations. Your voice is your vote is your voice. There are a lot of voices out there that are influential, that really could help to shape the dynamics of the voting process. But I think that the village and the community has to come together and decide, what's important and when and how, and unify to make that kind of thing happen. So, it's a very big problem. It's a very big issue. And to your point earlier, Ms. Alester, if we don't get control of it, we won't be a part of the voting process. No. And if we're not careful, rights could be stripped from us. And, and the things that we need, even on local level, state levels, we won't have any control over whatsoever, because we did not know that we were supposed to be that deeply entrenched in the voting process, due to that lack of education or miseducation. So it's a topic that I think, Brother Edward keeps, he brings you all to the table frequently. And just like you said earlier, we don't mind reaching out to other parties. This is a nonpartisan show, and it would be great to just hear more about platforms and positions and values and beliefs, and, just to even get a scope of, why there are so many different things to choose from, when it comes down to political parties and what's traditional and what's not. There's so many new parties that have popped up and all that. it's a lot to just, to filter through. So the work you're doing is really important. I think my, ultimate question is, how do we take that work and, revamp it versus recycling it so that we can do something that's more impactful in the community, and to get these young people involved, to re-energize our traditional adult voters, to make sure the elderly still vote because they still have a voice. What do you think is needed?
Well, one of the things that I initiated when I became chair was Engage or Read. We went out to Loris and those communities that were not really touched by our party. And also, COVID had a dramatic effect on our grassroots organization, because before we used to try to go in the grassroots, we go to Wright Avenue and in Conway, we go to Coastal Lane in Myrtle Beach to energize and talk with the voters, because it's important. We had one of the precincts had about 1,200 voters registered, and in the last election, only 281 of them voted. And those are statistics that we have to break. And by doing that, our grassroots, when COVID came in, it stopped us from going out into the community. It stopped us from doing Engage or Read, which was very vital, because it got the communities that we had not been in. We had some in Bucksport. We had some in Burgess. And those are things that we have to go back to. We have to go back to the grassroots. And that way we can educate our voters while engaging them and energizing them to empower them. And to me, the most important thing we can do is empower those that live in our community so they can have their needs met. And I keep telling everyone, it's not about them, it's about us, because we're all a part of the community. So
as I said earlier, much earlier in the show, that I will attempt to reach out to Republican Party members to kind of like go along with you as a Democrat from the Horry County Democratic Party, not for some kind of partisanship talk, but to encourage voting and let the people know the importance of voting. Having said that, I think if we had a Republican representative on tonight's show, they probably would have ended up saying the same thing that you are saying. Okay, I think it's a valid opinion on that, to say that they would probably be saying the same thing.
It is important. As I stress again, it's so important that you use your voice. And if you have any questions, or if you think I can help you in any way, please call the Horry County Democratic Office. I will talk to anyone, anywhere, because it's important that we are community-based. And you have to have a community. And it's all about, especially hitting our grassroots once again.
Right.
Because COVID really did a lot of damage. People were afraid to go out. And now then the resurgence happened again with the COVID virus. And I just think that we need to get together and vote. And I would like to thank you all for having me on. I appreciate it, but we just need to get the message that it's important that we become involved in the political process. Because we can't do any empowerment without being in this dreadful, as April said, the politics of hatred is going on now. And we have to resolve that, because that politics of hatred is not going to do America any good.
Yeah, that's true. That's we're all impacted by that. We're all impacted by that.
Well, Ms. Alester, this was a great conversation, getting your insight. And we certainly do appreciate you being with us this evening. And, just continue the good fight, as they say, get into the good trouble, right? As John Lewis would say. And I think that, as Priscilla Fuller, thank you for watching this evening. As she says, it's good and it's important information. It really is good, important information, just to get your insight, not necessarily to, push for anybody or anything other than just the vote, just raise your voice and which is your vote. So we really do appreciate it.
Thank you. And thanks to everyone there who listened, because we need to share ideas to become powerful. We have to know each other. And that way we
Absolutely.
can, we have to know each other to work for each other so we can empower each other.
Mm-hmm.
And voting is the best way to do it. So I ask everyone, there's a municipal election coming up. Please go out and vote. Make sure your vote, your precinct you're going to, the polling places you need to be, because they have moved polling places. They have moved district lines. And so please, when they did the redistricting here in Horry County, they have changed lines and polling places. So please make sure. Go to SC Vote, go to the voter registration office and get the correct information. This is something you have to do as a voter. And so I just wanted to emphasize that.
You know, let me say this one time. We're running out of time, but again, for people who don't have access to go to that website, people who don't frequent computers and stuff like that, and even on their phone, what is have you all explored any other options that may be crude or whatever?
The phone. I was trying to call the voter registration and election office. I'm not sure what the number is. You can call the Democratic office, and I hate to say this, I don't even know. I can't remember what the number is there either. But if you call that number, they can give you, our voter protection committee can give you all the information you need by phone, not using the website of scvote.gov.
Well, since hearing from Cedric probably can come back with the necessary phone numbers within a matter of seconds here.
Yes, so, he can.
Yeah, okay. That's good.
That's our state EC. So if he's on, that's a mountain of information.
Wow. So your state EC meaning what?
That's right. The state executive committee person that works directly with SCD, the South Carolina.
There it is.
Yes. Thank you, state EC. I appreciate you.
Awesome. All right.
Cedric is always on time for that. Well, thank you, Cedric.
Again, thank you, Ms. Alester, for being here. And we just want to remind our viewers that this broadcast is always available on our YouTube channel. So if you know of someone who could use this very good and important information, as Priscilla Fuller says, just grab the link and you can text it to them. You can email it to them. Or, if they're a little bit computer savvy and at least can get on a tablet or a phone, they can watch it, from anywhere. All they have to do is go to our YouTube channel. And you can easily visit the YouTube channel through the WCMmagazine.net website. The little thumbnail is there. You just click on it and the video will begin to run. So we appreciate all of you for viewing tonight, and Ms. Alester for taking the time to be with us. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. I'm sure we'll have you back.
Thank you for having me. It's good. Thank you very much.
All right. So Brother Edward, that's always a good talk. And
absolutely.
Talk. Right. So I know we have some commercials you want to we'll run as we close the show, and we just want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. And I know that some of you are parents of little ones, and you actually participate in the Halloween festivities during the evenings because it's just a fun thing for the kids to do. Just be really careful this evening. It's cold. And also it gets darker a lot faster nowadays. So, be vigilant about checking the candy. Make sure that you all stay close. And also, just have fun. But we wanted to, of course, extend that safety message to anyone who's acknowledging or observing the fun festivities of Halloween on this evening. Cedric also posted the Democratic Party voter protection line. So there's the number 843-488-4237. And then also he posted the voter registration and elections line 843-915-5440. As Ms. Alester says, if you need to find out more about party lines, precincts, and all that other good stuff, call the voter registration office. And also, if you need to find out whether or not your rights are being compromised, call the voter protection line, and you can get that great information. So, Brother Edward, if you do you have anything else before I roll this beautiful footage of your ancestors?
See, the countdown, I don't know when it's going to begin, but I think it has begun already for the alumni gala.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Thank you for mentioning that.
On December 23rd. The countdown has begun.
It has begun.
Okay.
Tickets are officially on sale now, and
I thought they were gone. They're still on. We still got some.
We have to look. We have a smidgen. we have a smidgen of tickets, and I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm going to share the screen real quick and just show everyone the website because they can go to our website and if they want to purchase tickets, if they want more information about the gala, a lot of work has really gone into pulling together the details for the gala, and we just want to thank everyone who's been a part of the planning for this year's gala. Tickets are now on sale, and we have an early bird discount that's happening. $55 is the cost of the tickets through November the 15th. We have printed tickets for those of you who like to have that ticket in hand, and we also have electronic tickets if you prefer to purchase your tickets online. I'm going to show you where on this website you can actually purchase your tickets and or actually register for your tickets, and then we can take care of everything on the back end. But the evening's gala includes an evening of honor ceremony. We will recognize and acknowledge our scholarship recipients from the class of 2022 and the class of 2023. So as you know, the Whittemore Alumni Association's mission is to provide scholarships for students or to students who are descendants of Whittemore alumni. And so in 2022, there were 10 scholarships awarded to students.
Wow.
Yeah, and they weren't in just Horry County. These students may be descendants of Whittemore alums, and they may live anywhere in the country. That's a wonderful, connection still to have to the legacy of Whittemore. So in 2022, there were 10 awarded. In 2023, there were 7 awarded, including the Miss Willie Dean Whaley Memorial Scholarship that was organized by the class of 1967. So there are 17 scholarship recipients who will be recognized for their scholastic achievements that evening. We've already recognized them through their schools, but we just want, the entire Whittemore alumni community and network family, whatever you want to call it, to come together to actually, applaud their achievements. We also have some honorees for the evening who we will recognize for their contributions to the association over the years. And that list is still forming as I'm learning more about the history and finding out about the foundation of, the founding of this particular association. It is incredible, the richness of the history. And what's even more incredible from my standpoint is, as I read through the historical content, I'm like, I know that person. I knew that person, so, these are the people who raised us, who actually were instrumental in, as a legacy, who were instrumental in pulling together the Whittemore Alumni Association so that we could have something that supports education, that gives back to the community. And so we're going to recognize, the association will recognize several individuals that evening, and we will, we won't release the names before then. You got to come to the gala in order to find out who we're going to recognize. Right. We have tickets on sale. Individual tickets are $55. That includes dinner and dancing, the evening of honor ceremony. We also have VIP tables available, and I can tell you that those VIP tables are almost sold out. We have very few. Brother Edward, on Monday, phones were ringing off the hook and emails were popping in. People wanted to make sure that they had their own table with the family and friends who will be attending with them. And so, we were very encouraged by that on Monday.
It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot of stuff there on at this
yes.
gala. Yeah,
There's gonna be some great things happening.
But, yeah.
And so you can get a VIP table for $5.50, and again, those are early bird prices through November 15th. After November 15th, the price will go up, and all of that is explained on the website. Also, this year, usually there's a souvenir booklet that is produced every year, but this has been a restructuring year, and we've tried to be really creative about how we can get back into the groove of having a gala. This will be the first gala since COVID. The last one was 2019. And so here we are 4 years later, and we're trying to bring the gala back. And, we're praying that nothing happens in terms of, COVID or anything like that. But when you're restructuring an organization and you're regathering your alumni to try and, pull together the things that they used to do, it does take some time, and it also takes support in terms of, donations and all of that. So we just wanted to be good stewards of the resources that we had. And so we pivoted a little bit to create a souvenir calendar that we thought would be a very practical and, more cost-effective way to celebrate the Whittemore history. Those calendars will be on sale the night of the gala, but also right now, if you'd like to purchase an ad, to put, in the calendar, you could do that. A memorial ad, an ad in honor of someone special, a congratulatory ad for a graduate or someone who's doing something wonderful in the community, a business or patron ad. We have various sizes to choose from, and it's a practical piece because it'll be a calendar, a 2024 calendar that you can hang on your wall, your refrigerator, put on your desk or whatever. So we're excited that piece is coming together. It will include some Whittemore history, and we're going to continue to do that every single year because there's so much to feature, Brother Edward. You know that. You have, chronicled a lot of the history pictorially with lots of pictures. And, we feel that we have so many pictures, we could just basically create a series and we would never run out of things,
never.
To print. Right. So we have the souvenir calendar that will be for sale. And again, ads are available if you'd like to purchase one in the calendar. So I'm going to show you now, if you go to our website, which is WhittemoreAlumniAssociation.org, and you click on events, it will take you to a page that has all of the event information. That tickets and tables are now available for reservation. It's going to be at the 4 Points by Sheraton in Myrtle Beach. And then also, if you would like to sponsor a portion of the event, you can be in touch with me and I will talk to you about sponsorships for the evening as well. Music is by DJ Cube. He seemed to be very popular, and we were talking about the planning, so we selected DJ Cube as the DJ of the evening. But all you have to do, if you are ready, is just click on the words "Let's Dance" right here, and it will take you to a registration form where you can fill out this form and indicate the tickets you want to purchase, the ads you'd like to purchase, and then someone will contact you again to complete the transaction. We also have rooms available at the hotel because we already know that there are people who are going to be coming from out of town who've already started to reserve rooms. So we have a block of rooms.
They reserve tables also, right? From out of town. People.
Say that again?
Yeah, some people from out of town, they've already reserved tables, haven't they?
Yes, absolutely. So we have some people from out of town who reserve tables. They've already got set up their hotel accommodations. So if you would like hotel accommodations for the weekend, and this is for locals and out of towners, all you have to do is click on the reserve rooms button, and it will take you straight to the hotels page where you can actually, and as you can see, it says Whittemore Alumni Association with our logo. That's how you'll know you're on the right page. And it gives you all of the information about the room availability. The cost per night is $89 per night, and that's before taxes. You can select the room type that you want, but everything is on the Whittemore Alumni Association website. So if you go there, click events, you can order your tickets, tables, even your ads for the souvenir calendar, and you can also reserve your rooms at the hotel. We've also included the discount code at the bottom of the events page. So if you want to call the hotel, to Brother Ellis' point, some people want a phone number. They want to be able to call and reserve a room. There's the discount code at the bottom, and you can tell them whether or not you want the 2 queens or a king, whatever, accommodations option you want. While you're on the website, take a look at what we have to offer in terms of information about Whittemore, our memberships, how you can donate to the mission of the organization. And if you'd like to be a part of the association, you can always join by clicking the membership page. Memberships are only $25 a year, and you could be a part of the programs, activities, and all of the planning for the Whittemore Gala, the meetups, the any alumni engagement, but also the scholarship endeavor, which is really the heart of what it is that the association is doing. And you can just click on the membership interest form, and then someone will contact you to let you know about how to join our monthly meetings. But everything is there on the website. Brother Edward, we're so excited, and we want to thank you for supporting through World Community Magazine. I'm kind of wearing 2 hats. I'm wearing WCM Live hat.
Yeah, you're right. You're wearing two hats.
Wearing 2 hats, but I'm also Whittemore Alumni Association. I'm an officer, and we have a wonderful body of members who are working hard to make sure that this gala is extra special. And we just want you all to come and enjoy and help us celebrate for the holidays. It's a great way to kick off the Christmas holiday season.
April, give me some clarification on this. You mentioned that the tables were $55, right? I mean, per person. Worth $550, I believe, right?
Right. And so the tables are $550. They are VIP tables.
How many to a table?
There's 8 to a table. It's premium seating, so you are seated closest to the staging area, stage central, where everything will happen. The dancing, the ceremony, and all of that. Priority access to the dinner line. Table card with your special VIP placard on it. You'll be extra special that night because you're VIP. So VIP tables are available.
I appreciate that.
Yes, and again, they're $550 until November the 15th. Individual tickets are $55. And if you have any questions, you can certainly hit me up on Facebook. You can contact us through the website that I just put up. And I think I have a banner with that website address on it. I do. And if you want more information about the gala, all you have to do is just visit this website. You can go ahead and start your ticket purchase if you want to purchase online, because some people like to do that because of the convenience of it all. As a matter of fact, last night I just sent out tickets, electronic tickets, for someone who purchased a table for 8. And it was just really exciting to do that. And so, fast, quick, convenient. If you need any help navigating online, just get in touch with me. I'll be able to help. And again, we have announcements posted on the World Community Magazine Facebook page. Brother Edward is helping us with some marketing. You'll see something in the magazine in November, but the actual event is December 23rd, and doors open at around 6:30. And the evening will start at 7 o'clock. We'll begin with dinner, and then the ceremony through dinner, and then dancing. And we have a few other little surprises we're working on. We're not going to talk about right now, Brother Edward, but we just hope that everyone can come out and help us. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, look, that was it's good narrative there, April. We're expecting a lot of things at that gala, because we've had four good years to plan, right?
We've had 4 good years to just kind of marinate on how to get back to this.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and we wanted to do it last year, but COVID was still, very high and rampant. So, right. We definitely wanted to push forward even after the unfortunate passing of our late president, Anna Staley. And, she already had us working on some plans, and we wanted to honor the vision to bring the gala back by making sure that we follow through with bringing the Whittemore dance back this year. So we're going to do it, and we hope that everyone will come out and support.
I think early recipients of the tickets, that's critical Okay, I think it's
Yeah.
going to be critical this time. So
Absolutely.
I'm talking like I'm on the planning committee, which I'm not. But you know how important it's been in the past. Okay, I mean, a little bit of history could tell you about that. Some 20 or 30 years ago. So.
Absolutely. Take advantage of the early bird discount. $55. Again, you're getting dinner, dancing, evening of honors. Oh, by the way, dress to impress. It's, formal, semi-formal, your preference. But we have a lot of people who are always excited about dressing in formal wear. So, come on out in your holiday best and celebrate with us.
Did I see the subtitle on the formal? Was that something like purple?
Purple and gold. Yeah, those. Yeah, with more colors, purple and gold. So we would appreciate it if you will have your outfits adorned with purple and gold. That would be awesome.
At least purple, right?
Yeah. And for the legacies, green.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So it looks well said. And we've had. By the way, we're going to be e-blasting. The information again out, so everybody can look forward to it from now to the gala. Okay, so just to keep you on board, and every time there's a change on planning, some things are added or subtracted, something like that, or modifications take place. This e-blast which should compensate, should take care of it. Okay.
Yep. Sounds good.
So,
all right.
See everybody next week. Next week, as it stands, it hasn't been solidified yet, but Dr. McIver will come on to talk about the diabetes situation and how that's associated with, obesity or something like that, or anything is basically diabetic. Okay. So looking forward to that. You can never get enough conversation on that. Okay.
No, never.
Diabetes. So anyway, until next week, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
God bless.
God bless.
And Godspeed. See you next week.
All right.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner.